Hi guys, welcome back. Dawn to Dusk is virtually upon us now and we're just about ready. We've got the GPX ready this weekend. Quite a few changes to the GPX for this event. And you might recognise a few things, particularly the Adventure Spec navigation tower which I used last year on the older bike that I used for last year's event, the KTM, the old 2009 bike. I've got the navigation tower on. A couple of reasons why I put the navigation tower on for this event on this bike. Basically, the LED light I've got mounted is bolted onto the lower number board, so I need a number board for my number for starters. And secondly, I thought again I'd run my iPhone so I can record stats, mileage, elevation, climbs, all that sort of stuff, and keep an eye on time as well for when I need to come in for refuel. I'm looking at refueling every sort of potentially every 3 hours, all being well, depending on how the lap times go, but somewhere near to sort of the 3 hour mark. But we'll be able to gauge that on how much fuel we use in the first, say, 2.5 hours. Now, I know this bike, as it is at the moment, is usually using around 4.5 litres every sort of 2 hours when I've been riding on it. So, sort of erring on the side of caution, I think 2 hours 45, 3 hours ish. We'll see where we are with fuel, how much fuel it needs after that. We'll be able to use that as a basis for the whole of the event, I think. So yeah, navigation tower, didn't have any problems with it last time. It's quite a robust thing. And yeah, so that's that. We've got the LED light on which we used last year. Just fasten that on. That is rigged up. Switch the ignition on, just so we've got an on-off set up. The biggest thing really for the setup of the bike this year is number one, the seat. If you remember in the last video, last year's video, I complained about in the last 3-4 hours of the last year's event, it was absolutely painful on the backside. So I said, if I'm going to do this event again, I need a comfy seat. So I've gone for the seat being customised into a standard seat base from the GPX, and I took it to a company called Caulfield Leather, who are based at Hyde in Manchester. And Matt there, just basically, I was given the seat and I said, I wanted something like a seat concept design. So it's narrow at the front, and at the back it's wider, so we've got a lot of support, and we've got a gel pad in there as well, so it's hopefully towards, you know, the latter part of the event, it's going to keep me comfortable, and that's what I want. I need to be comfortable on the bike so I can keep the speed up and keep enjoying the riding. So he's done a really good job as Matt. The only downside now, I asked Matt at Caulfield Leather to keep it simple, keep it plain. I didn't want any logos on, but I didn't actually specify that to him when I took the seat originally. But I just said, I just want a plain design so I can swap it from bike to bike. So what he was doing when he was doing this, he had another seat base identical to it from a KTM. So Matt, thinking he was doing me a favour, actually stitched in KTM on the back of the seat. Okay, and when I went to pick the seat up, I saw that. I said, it's not for a KTM, it's for a GPX. And he had no idea what a GPX bike was. He does now. So after the event, this seat's going to be sent back, and Matt's going to adjust that and put a different logo on it. In fact, I might ask him to keep it blank, to be fair. But yeah, he did a fantastic job with the seat. There's a 2-year warranty with it as well, and the price for a seat custom job is £280. That's what it was for this. I've had one, I bought a seat concept seat for my rally bike, which was quite expensive. That came from the States. And I think looking at this, in hindsight, I'd have been better off going to Matt and getting him to customise a standard seat base on that bike. So yeah, that's the seat. The next big thing really is the suspension on the bike. Now, it's a long-term bike is this, and I've got to say I do like the bike. The bike's great. Reliability wise, it's been absolutely fantastic. this is the bike that got me on the road to Romania, you know, with all the hours that I put on it, the riding, the training. But I'm doing a 24-hour event, so I just want a little bit more. So I've gone on to, I put a SXF rear shock in the back, a WP shock, and I've had that revalved with a K-Tech Enduro revalve kit, and I've also got a bladder on it. And up front, I've taken the forks out of my KTM TPI, straight fit, interchangeable. Those forks are dialed in perfectly. Having used those forks in Romania over 5 days, I know what they're like. They feel really nice, and it'll just make the riding a lot easier. You know, it's like anything. The standard stuff's pretty good, but sometimes you just need that little bit extra. And if you know, it reduces fatigue. And I think that's one of the things what helped me in Romania. I had the suspension spot on. The suspension's right, you're not fighting with the bike rides a lot easier, and just makes the job, you know, the whole experience more enjoyable. So yeah, the bike's good. We've got a complete new plastics kit on it, thanks to James Brown at GPX Motor UK. Supplied me with the plastics and the graphics, and it really has freshened the bike up. I mean, the bike overall, when I cleaned it up, come up really well. So it's got 130 hours on it. The paintwork on the frame's still good. The wheels are still good. I've got a bit of scuffing on the, you know, the casing, the ignition case and the clutch case on this side, but everything else, you know, for what work the bike has done so far, it's holding up really well. And yeah, another 130 hours on it to come. Like I said, it's a long-term bike. This is the most used bike that I've got, and like I say, I really enjoy riding it. Yeah, it's not a bike that's going to set world records, but it's reliable, it's low maintenance. From a two-stroke point of view, because of the way it's tuned, we can get a lot of high hours on it before we need to do any sort of service work, like a piston change or anything like that. So we're looking at 200 hours before we do, or even look at the piston, to be honest. So yeah, it's looking good. Brand new tyres on it as well. We've got a 754 Mitas Extreme on the back, and a C19 Mitas on the front, a 90-100 21. Went for the 754 on the back. Last year I used a Maxxis IT Pro, which a similar sort of tread pattern, a deep sort of tread pattern. That's a trail tyre, but it was okay. I managed to get around with that tyre on, no problem at all. But I thought I'd just go for a Mitas tyre this time, a little bit softer, but it's still got a really deep tread pattern, so it will go the distance. And we're running mousses as well, back and front. Normally I run Luccioli. I've got Lucciolis in other wheels at the moment. I've got Lucciolis in the rally bike, and the Luccioli I would normally run in this bike is in one of my other wheels. So I just thought I'd run the mousses that I had for this event. So yeah, that's it. We're pretty good, I think. Just got a few things to sort out this afternoon. I've got a new product by Ride for my hydration pack that I'm testing. I thought about, if you remember, if you've seen the Romaniacs video that I did on YouTube, you will, and at the end that I talk about the nutrition, what I used. And I used a product called Tailwind in my hydration pack in Romania. Tailwind's a fantastic product, but it's got limits with it. You know, it says on the packet, don't really use it any longer than a sustained sort of 6 hours. And I think that's to do with the caffeine content in it. Whereas this doesn't have caffeine. It's a carbohydrate hydration drink. So I should be able to use it throughout the 24-hour period. And I'm also using the preload as well. So I'll start taking that a couple of days before the event. So starting probably tomorrow evening. That's Thursday evening. So that's a Ride Intra carbohydrate drink, and I'll be backed up with the preload as well. So that's good. So I'm just sort of planning my meals as well throughout the event, what I'm going to be eating, and I'll talk about that when it all starts happening. But yeah, the GPX, had a bit of a ride in it this morning, just cleaned it up again. Suspension feels good, the bike feels good, it's on the button, and ready to go. Dust 24-hour solo this weekend. Stay tuned, Harden Geometry Media, and on Robbo's GPX dirt bike page at Eurotech. See you soon, guys.